I tried to make it back in a timely fashion. Um, I am no longer upset or frustrated. I don't even care if I stay on 0 viewers this entire time. I'm just happy to be back. That's all I can say. Let me check the sound myself. I probably can talk a little louder or put my mic a little bit louder. Let me get that squared away for y'all. All right. Check, check, check. All right. So, like I said, I'm good. I'm good now. I'm back. We're going to get into this thing. Brown, you should have mic ability over there. So, feel free to talk.
Hello.
Whenever you need to. Zanita67 says sound is good. I'm going to unbutton my shirt a little bit. I feel like I'm being too uptight. Say something again in the mic.
Said I might be messing with the sound a little bit because I'm going through songs over here. Trying to get ready for Lalo Brown Presents.
See. I still can't hear you on here. I wonder why you.
If y'all can hear me out there, let me get it's a Lalo! What?
I still got the. Maybe I got it paused or something. I promise you, all my devices is on the fritz today. So, like I said, we talking about planning and execution. Y'all let me know if y'all heard Lalo say anything. Because I don't hear him coming through the mic at all. I tried to get him. I can hear the music playing. Okay, they heard that. Good. So we just gonna rock with it like that. How to get ahead. So getting ahead to me doesn't simply come from or doesn't mean that you winning the race or like you better than everybody else or you faster than everybody else. Getting ahead is a product of planning to me, and that's why I wanted to speak about it for today's topic. Now, let's take, for example, I got to feed off my current situation. I cannot not feed off my current situation. Brown, if you say anything, if you do chime in anything over there, I can't hear you directly into my headphones, so you have to just say it loud. That's all.
Okay.
All right. But everybody said that they can hear you and whatnot. I don't know what's up with my Scarlet box. Everything want to give me the bad or the short end of the stick. So I got to feed off my situation today. So starting with a base example of getting ahead, we'll take the tortoise and the hare. We all know about that race that went on, whereas where the hare, the rabbit, was ahead the entire race. He ain't finished there. Now, is that because of a lack of planning or a lack of preparation? Well, let's examine the story just for a quick second. He was ahead the whole race. Then my mans came up, snuck him from behind because he just didn't finish. So maybe he was prepared. He knew he was going to win. He knew what he could do. He was prepared for it. But he just slacked off the pedal. He didn't finish and follow all the way through. Whereas the tortoise kept on going. So that's not the perfect example of preparation, but it is a great example of execution. If you keep on keeping on and you don't slack, you don't take your foot off the pedal, you're going to finish strong. And you may finish ahead of those who were ahead of you. So let's go back and let's revisit the preparation side of things. What can you do to prepare for a race? Let's just use the race example. You exercise. You say what, Brown? You had said something? Oh, thought you was gonna help me out on this. I hear you. So, how do you prepare for a race? Well, you go out there, you jog. You may make sure you're drinking extra water so you don't get dehydrated. But how do you prepare for your day? Do you iron your clothes beforehand? I don't. That's part of me getting up in the day. Do you get your outfit out before you go to bed? Maybe. Those are all things that can save you time in the end. And those are all things that may put you ahead of those who you competing against, or, even sometimes it can get you out ahead of your teammates so that you can carry or help them along at the end of the day. Now, I am going to skip over our translation today because I want to get into what it looks like when you get ahead. Now, it's not necessarily getting ahead of anyone particular, but it's getting ahead of your responsibilities and getting ahead of those things that you have to do for yourself. Let me check out some of these routes. Now, I'm going to give you a contrast to what I'm talking about. What does it look like to get over? We're going to take that literally. We're not going to take that figuratively. What does it look like to get over? All right. Get over what, Dan? Well, what does it look like to get over a wall? What does it look like to get over the obstacles in your way? Well, it looks like effort. It looks like work. Perseverance. Now, getting ahead in case of unseen items. Getting ahead in case of what would you type in that to say? Trying to get my camera right. I'm sorry, y'all. Getting ahead of unseen items, because I'm gonna speak on it as well. I want some of these people to have a better place to live. How can I make y'all house a lot better? Let me take y'all out of here. And let me check the comment, make sure ain't no other comments on there. I got to check YouTube as well. Sorry, YouTube, if I neglected you. You be all right. So, getting ahead of unseen items would be your preparation tip. You sit down, like I always say, you sit down and you do that reflection. You take that time to focus in on what you got to do. And you can see some of those unseen items before they appear in front of you in a physical light or in a tangible way. Now, when you do get ahead and things like a power outage at the building happen, you're like, all right, cool. What I can do is I can test out as much stuff as I can here. But if that doesn't work, what I will do is I'll leave and I'll still have enough time to get to where I need to be. Now, the downside to that, or the bad thing about it is that you're pushing a little bit, but you still got enough time because you got out ahead of that unseen or unforeseen circumstance. Let me take this little farm out of here and just plant some trees in there. Now, let me make sure you didn't answer me back just for a second. All right, no more chat on there. So, getting ahead looks distinctly different from getting over. So when you get ahead, it's still effort. They both have effort in common. But when you get ahead, you're putting in the effort before you need to do the job or the task or handle the responsibility. So what you're doing is you're laying the foundation for the responsibility you have to take care of. That right there gives you that extra moment, gives you that split second that you may need when things go wrong. Now, Imagine right now you threw something up in the air. Physics says that the trajectory will, or the acceleration and the velocity will reach zero at a certain point in the trajectory. Now, let me say that again. If I threw a ball straight up, in the air, at some point it will stop and freeze in midair. And in that split second, it's not moving. It's not going up and it's not going down. Now, right after that 0 point, it starts to increase in velocity and acceleration as it's coming back down. Now, it has a constant or a decreasing velocity and a decreasing acceleration going up. It freezes and then it comes back down. Now, let's say your day is just like that, and you want to capture every single last moment where the velocity and acceleration of your life is at zero so that you can capitalize on what is happening in that moment. Let's say that is your goal. How would you do that? Preparation. Now, the preparation is that split second. It is that moment where your life's plans and goals and things are at a standstill. Not a literal standstill, but a figurative standstill of you're not executing. You're just planning. So let's say that your thing, whatever it is that you want to do, your goal or whatever it is you want to accomplish is the ball in this example. And you're throwing it up in the air, and as you're throwing it up in the air, you're executing. Now, the thing that you want to do comes to a standstill once you've executed everything that you need to. You can either continue to plan in that moment of it standing still, or you can watch things unfold. And in both instances, you kind of get that moment where it's like, hey, nothing's happening. We're not doing anything. There's nothing happening. And we're waiting for that next thing to take place. And in that moment is where you want to be putting as much effort into getting ahead as you can. Now, I'm going to bring it all home after I read this comment. So example, if you iron the night before, if something unseen comes along, you have the time to work on the item and not be behind. Exactly. Now, if you iron them clothes, you could just get up and put your clothes on and you're good to go. But if you run into a snag and you didn't iron those clothes, you still got to handle that. You still have to handle that snag, and you still have to iron your clothes if you want both things to happen. If you're willing to sacrifice one over the other, then you good. But if you want both things to happen, now you're behind. So I'm going to go back to my example of throwing the ball up in the air. Oh, my gosh. I can't even undo what I just did. What the heck? Well, time to load again. Told you, this ain't the time right now. So now, back to the example of throwing the ball up in the air. So now, that thing that you're trying to do is up in the air, and you're back at a standstill moment. Before the velocity and acceleration, you're putting in all of the execution that you can as it's going up. Now, the coming down is the reverse side of things. This is the side where you can't do anything. You have to just let things go and play out how they're going to play out. Now, like I said, if you throw a ball up in the air, you can't manipulate it while it's up in that free space. So you kind of got to just get up under it. You see what I'm saying? Now, as you're trying to get up under it, it's not going to change left and right. It's not going to zip and zap like Quidditch, like the little snitch from Quidditch. It ain't going to zip, 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 zip. It's going to go on that trajectory that you threw it up. And if you get up under it, you can catch it again. Now, with your goal or whatever it is you're trying to achieve, same thing. As you're executing that responsibility, the responsibilities or the work that it takes to put into that thing, you're throwing the ball up or you're throwing that thing up. You've done your part, and all the work that you've put in is carrying that velocity, making that velocity increase and that acceleration go up. And as it's going up, is losing those things. And then it hits that stopping point. And in that stopping point, that's when you no longer have control. Now you can do all of the planning that you want, but what it's going to do is it's going to get you up under the ball. You're going to be under looking for it. You're going to be like, oh, all right, I got to plan this. I got to move this way. I got to get this way. What you're doing or what you're trying to get done may turn into that Quidditch snitch right at this point, because we're not no longer talking about just the ball. It's not going to go straight up and straight down. It's going to zip and it's going to zap. And what I mean is you're going to have obstacles that get in your way that stop you from trying to get back up under that ball. You know, you may have some stuff push you. You may have something come flying and knock the whatever it is that you're trying to do out of the way that you wanted it to happen. But you still have to get back up under it so you can catch it and you can do it all over again. Now, it's so many examples that I can give for what I just said. 1 second. What you need? Oh, okay. So it's so many examples that I can give for what I just said. But the baseline of it is if you can get back up under it, under whatever it is that you just tossed up by doing the work, you can catch it again and you can execute again. Now, what that looks like is being ahead. Now, if you threw a ball as hard as you can, you probably can't run fast enough to get back up under it. Same thing for your plans and your goals you're trying to achieve. If you try to get up, if you try to put it out there, do things too hard and too fast, then you're not going to be able to get back in front of it or get up under it to catch it when it starts doing or starts going to where it is that you wanted it to go. You want it to go there, but you're just not going to be there with it to catch it or get in front of it or to handle it at that point. That's me using trajectory, physics, and all of that to kind of nail in what it is you're doing when you get out ahead of something. We can keep it simple and say, yeah, you know, if you brush your teeth the night before, that, you know, when you get up in the morning, you ain't got to brush your teeth. But that sounds stupid. Now, if we put it, no, I don't want to demolish all of this. Now, if we put it in the light of a ball just being thrown up in the air, you can connect with that more than you can with a morning, well, a daily routine, because it may not be your daily routine, but you fill in the blanks, and there's your answer for what I'm saying. But just give it the example of the ball being thrown up in the air. You want to get back up under it so you can catch it. There's going to be obstacles in the way. There's going to be a big patch of grass. There's going to be all types of things that'll be in your way. But planning can help you get back up under that ball and catch it. And the ball is whatever it is you're trying to complete for your life, or whatever goal or achievement you would like for your life. I don't know why this thing keeps doing that. It's trying to make me destroy everything. Let me save before they make a brother delete everything I got on the map. So once again, I do want to apologize for the technical difficulties we had at the beginning of the show. I didn't intend for that, but I still was able to get back up under the ball, under the goal and the plan here for expansion pack today, and get on here and still be able to talk to y'all. So whether 2 people or 17 people, I'm cool with it. I know my audience understand the pressures of a black man. Of a black man trying to live his dream, you know. Anyway, so let's keep on going and digging into this planning and execution thing. Now we used the example of a ball, but I think we can go. No, I don't want to go deeper. I want to expand. I want to expand on that a little bit more. I don't want to like dig into it. Let's slide over to the execution side of getting ahead. Can you execute more in order to get ahead? Hell yeah. You can do all that you can. Now, it's one thing, you know, to sit down and meditate and fill your head with fantasies and plans of things to be and things that could happen. That's great for everyone to do. But what about when it's time for you to actually get out there and for those things to happen? Well, let me take these trees back. I want some of these trees gone. Take them trees back. Well, if you have more data from execution, then you got a little bit more to reflect upon, a little bit more to learn from than if you sit and do thought experiments. Good thought experiment is good. Ain't nothing like sitting and thinking about what you want to do and how you want to do it. But the person who's getting out there and doing it has a lot more data. So this is my example right here for that. If you want to get a job in a specific field, whether it be rocket science or accounting, your employer is going to ask you, what's your experience? Now, you may ask, well, you may say to your employer, well, I have an education in this, and I have a background in that, and I've done this. Now, if what you say to your employer or your potential employer can show experience, then you got a better chance of getting the job or landing the position. Right? Now, if your background does not show experience, but it does show what you've learned, then you probably going to be less likely to get the position, because your employer may not want to train. Now, experience is different from learning, just simply learning something. I can go learn it, and until I do it, I don't have any experience outside of the intangible thoughts in my mind about what it may be like to actually execute this thing. Now, if I get out here and I screw in 100 light bulbs, and we have my mans over here who read about screwing in light bulbs and making light bulbs and how to get the filament in the light bulb, and we both apply for a job that we just screwing in light bulbs, and I go to the boss and I say, hey boss, I've screwed in 100 light bulbs. I got it. My man say, well, I can tell you why your filament went out. I can tell you how to put the bulb together, but you got to show me how to screw in the light bulb. Boss gonna be like, come on, Dan, we're gonna get you in here. We're gonna screw these light bulbs in, and my man's gonna go work at the light bulb building factory or making factory, and he gonna make light bulbs. We need a light bulb screwer in it right now, so you can execute. You've been executing that well, and we gonna take that experience you got, and we gonna hire you. So, but if you flip that example and say, hey, we need someone who knows why our filaments keep going out, and my little ass keep coming in and be like, well, I can unscrew it. They're going to be like, go ahead and unscrew over there with Earl him, because Earl need to unscrew or screw her in her. We need the filament test to take her out and figure out why it ain't working. So experience comes from execution. You've built things. You've tested things. We didn't plan things. We're not looking for a planner in this stage. We're looking for the doer in this stage. Now, execution can get you ahead because you gather an experience every single time that you do something. You're gathering that experience. Now, you get a certain portion of experience from planning it. Yes, you do. That is why there's a such thing as an office worker and a field agent. The desk worker, paper pusher, and the field agent. See, the field agent is going to execute everything in all of the orders from the high up behind the desk. And he's going to give his report when he is debriefed. He or she is debriefed. However, the person at the desk will not, to a certain extent, will not have, I don't know what I can say. He got to read the report. He has to take his field agent's experience from what has been executed out in the field. He can't diminish it. And that's why we got a lot of problems here today, you know what I'm saying, with people going and writing stuff in the report. But anyway, the execution of it is just as important as the planning. But it gets us further ahead by collecting the data on the situation, collecting the data on the experience. We ain't got no more comments, so I'm going to keep on chiming and talking and doing this thing the right way. I'm already 30 minutes behind, but 30 minutes in. Get off. All right. So now I know we all want to be further ahead in our lives and our daily task and the things that we want to do. But it's more effort that goes into being ahead or planning ahead than it does with the actual execution. And let me explain. If you're going on a camping trip and you spend a whole week, 2 weeks before planning routes, planning meals, things like sunscreen, repellent, all of those things that you know you're going to need, then you will be ahead. Even if you get down the road and you find out somebody left a battery charger. You may have planned ahead and was like, I got 3 of them. We good. We going to keep on going. Bigger things like, I did it again. Forget it. I ain't bringing y'all back. Bigger things like having to stop and change a tire, or, unforeseen circumstances that are something you couldn't control, like the weather, those types of things, then you can still be ahead if they happen. And the reason why is because you can foresee them through your planning. Now, when you get to the stage where you got to execute, then you're like, all right, well, I planned for this. And the execution comes swiftly. But if it's something that's truly unforeseen, then planning ahead still couldn't hurt, because you can move accordingly. It's like driving and seeing something in the road ahead of you, and you're like, all right, well, cool, I'll just move out of the way. But if you're driving and you're looking at something other than the road, like a screen or, talking to the kids in the back, then that thing that's approaching, that could be disastrous, or it could be, something that would prevent you from going or doing what you want to do, it's coming in on you a lot faster, and you have less time when you're distracted to get that thing out of the way. So sure, you may be ahead in that light of you trying to solve whatever it is that you're trying to solve at the moment, but something that you don't see is approaching a little bit faster. You can't always foresee everything, so planning and execution is always working to your benefit. But it is kind of like liquor. You do too much of it at the wrong moment, and your day gonna be up. You can't really bounce back from it. I'm gonna stop right there. That ain't me pausing or brain freezing. That's me stopping right there just to see what is gonna happen next.
The ice cream man is coming.
I'm guessing my sound is good. Hey. But I ain't got no background music, man, and that's killing me too. Maybe I can get some. There we go. Now, I hope that just because I did end up starting a little bit late, I hope y'all able to go back on your own time and at your own accord and watch our show this evening. Will be 10 times better because I'm already here, and I actually like the way that life ended up pushing me today. Can't be too upset about it. Gotta kind of ride with it. If you are listening right now and would like to call in, you would have to know me personally to call my phone, but I am gonna offer a way for you all to chime in. If you give me 1 second, I will post a link and you can join us. Make sure it's not going to cause no problems with my video over here. It might not. Who cares? So I am going to. I'm not leaving from right here. Tell her she gonna have to bring it. She gonna have to just leave it with y'all, and that's about it. I don't have the luxury of taking a break. So, like I said, I'm gonna drop this link in the chat. If you would like to join, Laylo Brown, you got anything over there you want to add to the conversation?
No, sir.
You said no?
No, sir. I'm really just chilling and kicking it today. If you can hear me out there, let me get a. It's a Laylo, boy.
Last time you said it, they was able to hear you.
Can they hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now? What they do that at?
Post the link in the chat. If you would like to join, you can join that. If I get a little bling, 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 you know I'll admit you in right now. Yep. Yep. We got Owen. Zanita67 said they can hear you loud and clear over there. You know, just in case you was wondering. I did put that link in the chat. All right. Let me turn my sound up. Check, check, check. I hope that's a little bit better. I did put that link in the chat. I'm gonna make sure that the sound can come over. Like I said, if you are watching right now and are able to hit that link that I just dropped in the chat, you can join in to that link, that meet link, and you can get on here and talk with me a bit about getting ahead, if that is what you want to do. I know some of y'all might be at work, so you might not necessarily be able to jump in, but if you feel like it and you know me personally and got my phone number, feel free to call in and join in on some of this planning and execution talk we got on how to get ahead. It is totally okay with me. If I hear the little bling, bling, bling go off in my ear, I will definitely add you in here. Now, getting ahead is easy for us. I want to be a little bit candid for a moment with y'all. I feel it's needed. So, we all know as adults, I know the adults is out there listening right now. We know as adults that it's easy for us. It's a little bit easy for us to say, hey, look, we got to get up and we got to get our move on because we got to go down here and we got to go to work and we got to do all of these things. Now, we know that is a little bit easier for us than it is for kids. But, man, bro, I really have noticed that you have to grow into this stuff. You do not start out with it. And that right there is, it really put my heart at ease. I'm able to say, all right, well, I'm gonna do this because I know I gotta. I'm gonna prepare myself by going to bed early because I know I gotta get up and I gotta go to where I need to be, and I don't want to be tired doing that. And when I look at the kids, they will run into the last minute doing whatever it is that they doing and never prepare. And then when it's time to do whatever it is it's time to do, they're unprepared. And I really, really, it put my mind at ease seeing that they don't know that, because it gives me an option and it gives me a chance to train them and teach them about it. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back here on Expansion Pack, chilling on Laylo Brown's Presents set, and be right back. Literally in my life and see where I didn't know and I was responding the exact same way. So a lot of the time when you look back and you dealing with your parents, you be like, I didn't used to do that. Or you looking at your kids and then you dealing with your parent, you like, I ain't used to act like that. I didn't used to do that. And now in my critical thinking mind or my conscious mind or my mind that I gotta hold myself accountable to myself mind, now I'm looking and I'm saying, damn, I did do that, or I was like that. And it's only through the understanding part that I can see it. Otherwise I can't see it. And that's what I mean. Like, so when I'm looking at the kids, I can see sometimes where they just don't know how to do something, or they just don't understand why we doing something, and so it caused them to behave a certain way. And it could be anything from throwing a temper tantrum to full live trying to scream at me like, all right, go get in the tub. I know sometimes y'all probably be like, where are you going with this? But think about that. Go in the tub. Well, first of all, here's how you can tell a kid don't know. When they walk past you, they stink as hell. Stank. Underarm, ass, whatever. Stank. And they just, I feel as if they knew, it wouldn't be stank. They wouldn't walk past or be moving like it's not, like it's all good. Right? So you got to tell them, you'll be like, hey, you got to go get in the tub. Now, they obviously don't know. And here's how you know they obviously don't know. Because the response back to you is, well, I don't want to go in the tub. I just don't go in the tub. Why I got to go in the tub? If you knew what you smell like when you move past me, you would say the same thing to yourself. So they don't know. Like, they missing that faculty of personal responsibility to themselves. So they can't even execute the tub, the taking a bath part, because they just don't know. Right? Now, that's cool. The part I'm trying to talk about, or that I'm stressing, is that it gives me great pleasure to tell you you stink and get in the tub. And the reason why is because it even give me a little bit of pleasure or make me laugh a little bit, because you respond, or they respond and say, well, why I gotta go in the tub? Because in my mind, when I was younger, it was, why I gotta go in the tub? I want to go in the tub and play a game, or I'm doing something like this. I don't want to take a bath. And now I look back and I say, dang, I would probably stink, or my parent probably was like, yo, you ain't been in the tub since or the day before yesterday, and I know it. Go get in the tub. And so it's that ability, or like whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, your neuron ain't connecting, you ain't, whatever it is you want to call it, it's not there, and it has to be taught to you, or taught in general, or period. And that right there, I take great pleasure in that. Great pleasure. Cancel that deal. You spending a lot of money. What? So I stand to make 500 G's, $500,000 this year off giving these people water. How? I don't even have a water plant. Anyway, I'm gonna just save that. Let me see. Go back to my comments. See if I got anything. Nope, nothing. All right. So, like I said, you literally have to teach the kids to plan and to execute, really. And I could see in my life where I didn't have that ability, and so right now, sitting and looking at it, it give me great pleasure. So going back to our actual, sorry about that. Going back to our actual literal topic of getting ahead, or how to get ahead. Well, the way that I envision getting ahead is by staying still, planning, and then when it's time to execute the plan that you've been planning, execute it to as close of detail to how you saw it in your mind, or how you planned it out, as you can. And what that's going to do is, it's going to be a wind under your sails that carries you. And when everybody else is flapping away as hard as they can to try to catch up to where you're at, or not even everybody else, when you see some people, or you see a situation that could have been completely different if you didn't plan it, or if you didn't get out ahead of it, then it gives you a boost. It literally gives you a push, or a bump up, so to speak, because you like, hey, I planned for this, I prepared for this. And so now, instead of flapping to fly and get to where you're going, you coasting. You like, I'm coasting on that thing right now. Well, I don't go down there. So getting ahead to me looks like the wind that I'm carrying, that is carrying me forward. I'm trying to wait for this month to go past. Look like I'm about to make 400. I don't know what glitch is in this game, but whew, they about to pay me today. Real money. So if you caught that analogy, or if you like that analogy, I can keep going and expanding on that, because I really do like that, because the feeling of it is just like if you would be outside at the beach, you're sweating. I just made 500 G's. What glitch is that? You out at the beach and you're sweating. And that's crazy. And a nice cool breeze blow past you. That's planning ahead right there. You working, you're toiling all day and all night to get whatever it is that you're trying to get done ahead of time, so that when you feel that breeze, it is just that. It's not something to knock you off balance. It's something to just cool you down and get you feeling the way that you want to feel. It's not a big strong wind of all these obstacles and you done been trying to get this thing done and it's still not done, and you were supposed to have it done ahead of time. You were supposed to have it done 2 weeks ago. And so that you could prepare for that pitfall. You could prepare for whatever it is that was going to stop you beforehand. Now, I got to go ahead and do my whole little commercial spill. You are watching Expansion Pack. I am your host, Dan F. Man. We on set right now with Lalo Brown Presents Identity Groove Collective. Let me get it's Lalo, boy. If you're out there, you know what I'm saying. You want to say it one time? I think I might have butchered it. Hold on. Let me put your mic back.
Oh, boy!
Say it again.
It's Lalo, boy!
All right, bet. So yeah, we on set with Lalo Brown Presents right now. We're going to roll into that show this evening. Catch it from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on your Twitch, your YouTube, your Facebook. You can see the links down there at the bottom of the screen. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. This is Expansion Pack here on DGTA TV. We chilling on set right now. Zanita67 said, it's Lalo, boy. So I think I want to introduce something new. I didn't get anybody to hit that link and join into that meet, or call in. So I want to try something new with y'all here today on Expansion Pack. Let me type it in. I always like to challenge the mind, and I feel like this right here is something that we should check out on our planning and execution Mondays. We won't necessarily do this every single time, but I do want you. Let me go to a certain part. I do want you to hear a bit of this. Let me see. Start at that time. Copy. Yep. All right. So I do want you to hear just a bit of this to kind of challenge your mind or put a new spin on something you already know or already experience in your life or doing in your life. So if you could cue up there.
Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It's only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Disraeli said this, everything comes if a man will only wait. I've brought myself by long meditation to the conviction that a human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it, and that nothing can resist a will that will stake even existence for its fulfillment. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this, a man is what he thinks about all day long. William James said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. And he also said, we need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real. It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief. And he also said, if you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly attain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly. In the Bible, you read in Mark 9:23, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. My old friend Dr. Norman Vincent Peale put it this way: "This is one of the greatest laws in the universe. Fervently do I wish I had discovered it as a very young man. It dawned upon me much later in life, and I found it to be one of the greatest, if not my greatest discovery outside of my relationship to God. The great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you will get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. That is the simple fact," he went on to say, "which is at the basis of an astonishing law of prosperity and success. In 3 words, believe and succeed." William Shakespeare put it this way: "Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." George Bernard Shaw said, "People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them." Well, that's pretty apparent, isn't it? And every person who discovered this for a while believed that he was the first one to work it out. We become what we think about. Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it, because that's what he's thinking about, and we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. His life becomes one of frustration and fear and anxiety and worry. And if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing. Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has some land, and it's good fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now, remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. It will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now, let's say that the farmer has 2 seeds in his hand. One is a seed of corn. The other is nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs 2 little holes in the earth, and he plants both seeds, one corn, the other nightshade. He covers up the holes, waters, and takes care of the land, and what will happen? Invariably, the land will return what's planted. As it's written in the Bible, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Now remember, the land doesn't care. It'll return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn. So up come the 2 plants, one corn, one poison. Now, the human mind is far more fertile, far more incredible and mysterious than the land, but it works the same way. It doesn't care what we plant. Success, failure. A concrete, worthwhile goal, or confusion. Misunderstanding, fear, anxiety, and so on. But what we plant, it must return to us. You see, the human mind is the last great unexplored continent on Earth. We want to plant. Now, you might say, well, if that's true, why don't people use their minds more? Well, I think they figured out an answer to that one, too. Our mind comes as standard equipment at birth. It's free, and things that are given to us for nothing we place little value on. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox is that exactly the reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our minds, our souls, our bodies, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends and country, all these priceless possessions are free. But the things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time. A good man can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He can do that several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it. But the things we got for nothing, we can never replace. The human mind isn't used because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big, important ones. Universities have proved that most of us are operating on about 10% or less of our abilities. So decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life. What is it you want? Do you want to be an outstanding salesman? A better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company? In your community? Do you want to get rich? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality. It not only will, There's no way that it cannot. You see, that's a law, like the laws of Sir Isaac Newton, the laws of gravity. If you get on top of a building and jump off, you'll always go down. You'll never go up. And it's the same with all the other laws of nature. They always work. They're inflexible. Think about your goal in a relaxed, positive way. Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal. Ours has been called the phenobarbital age, the age of ulcers and nervous breakdowns and tranquilizers. At a time when medical research has raised us to a new plateau of good health and longevity, far too many of us worry ourselves into an early grave trying to cope with things in our own little personal ways without learning a few great laws that will take care of everything for us. These things we bring on ourselves through our habitual way of thinking. Every one of us is the sum total of his own thoughts. He is where he is because that's exactly where he really wants to be, whether he'll admit that or not. Each of us must live off the fruit of his thoughts in the future, because what you think today and tomorrow, next month and next year, will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind. I remember one time I was driving through eastern Arizona, and I saw one of those giant earth-moving machines roaring along the road at about 35 miles an hour with what looked like 30 tons of dirt in it. A tremendous, incredible machine. And there was a little man perched way up on top with the wheel in his hands guiding it. And as I drove along, I was struck by the similarity of that machine to the human mind. Just suppose you're sitting at the controls of such a vast source of energy. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep both hands firmly on the wheel and control and direct this power to a specific, worthwhile purpose? It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. You see, the very law that gives us success is a two-edged sword. We must control our thinking. The same rule that can lead a man to a life of success, wealth, happiness, and all the things he ever dreamed of for himself and his family. That very same law can lead him into the gutter. It's all in how he uses it, for good or for bad. This is the strangest secret in the world. Now, why do I say it's strange, and why do I call it a secret? Actually, it isn't a secret at all. It was first promulgated by some of the earliest wise men, and it appears again and again throughout the Bible, but very few people have learned it, understand it. That's why it's strange, and why for some equally strange reason it virtually remains a secret. I believe that you could go out and walk down the main street of your town and ask one man after another what the secret of success is, and you probably wouldn't run into one man in a month who could tell you. Now, this information is enormously valuable to us if we really understand it and apply it. It's valuable to us not only for our own lives, but the lives of those around us, our families, employees, associates, and friends. Life should be an exciting adventure. It should never be a bore. A man should live fully, be alive. He should be glad to get out of bed in the morning. He should be doing a job he likes to do because he does it well. One time I heard Grove Patterson, the great late editor-in-chief of the Toledo Daily Blade, make a speech, and as he concluded his speech, he said something I've never forgotten. He said, "My years in the newspaper business have convinced me of several things. Among them, that people are basically good, and that we came from someplace, and we're going someplace. So we should make our time here an exciting adventure. The architect of the universe didn't build a stairway leading nowhere." And the greatest teacher of all, the carpenter from the plains of Galilee, gave us the secret time and time again. As ye believe, so shall it be done unto you. I've explained the strangest secret in the world and how it works. Now, on this side, I want to explain how you can prove to yourself the enormous returns possible in your own life by putting this secret to a practical test. I want you to make a test that will last 30 days. It isn't going to be easy, but if you'll give it a good try, it will completely change your life for the better. Now, back in the 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton, the English mathematician and natural philosopher, gave us some natural laws of physics which apply as much to human beings as they do to the movement of bodies in the universe. And one of these laws is that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simply stated, as it applies to you and me, it means we can achieve nothing without paying the price. The results of your 30-day experiment will be in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. To be a doctor, you must pay the price of long years of difficult study. To be successful in selling, and remember that each of us succeeds to the extent of his ability to sell. Selling our families on our ideas, selling education in schools, selling our children on the advantages of living the good and honest life. selling our associates and employees on the importance of being exceptional people. 2, of course, the profession of selling itself. But to be successful in selling our way to the good life, we must be willing to pay the price. Now, what is that price? Well, it's many things. First, it's understanding emotionally, as well as intellectually, that we literally become what we think about, that we must control our thoughts if we're to control our lives. It's understanding fully that as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Second, it's cutting away all fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It's rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. And third, it's using all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe that there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are, at this moment, standing in the middle of your own acres of diamonds, as Russell Conwell used to point out. And fourth, save at least 10% of every dollar you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities, if you're willing to pay the price. Now let's just go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve the wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1. You will become what you think about. 2. Remember the word imagination and let your mind begin to soar. 3. Courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4. Save 10% of what you earn. And 5. Action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now, I'll try to outline the 30-day test I want you to make. Keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are 2 things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Now write down on your card specifically what it is you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up, and immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. And as you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about, and since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. Now we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit, and new habits are not easily formed. Once formed, however, it will follow you for the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. And there'll come times when you'll feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% are successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think about only what you permit it to think about. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work toward, you're immediately a successful person. You are then in that rare and successful category of people who know where they're going. Out of every 100 people, you belong to the top 5. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord and at the right time. Remember these words from the Sermon on the Mount, and remember them well. Keep them constantly before you this month of your test. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. It's as marvelous and as simple as that. In fact, it's so simple that in our seemingly complicated world, it's difficult for an adult to understand that all he needs is a purpose and faith. For 30 days, do your very best. If you're a salesman, go at it as you've never done before, not in a hectic fashion, but with the calm, cheerful assurance that time well spent will give you the abundance in return you deserve and want. If you're a homemaker, devote your 30-day test to completely giving of yourself without thinking about receiving anything in return, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes in your life. No matter what your job, do it as you've never done it before for 30 days. And if you've kept your goal before you every day, you'll wonder and marvel at this new life you've found. Dorothea Brand, the outstanding editor and writer, discovered it for herself and tells about it in her fine book, Wake Up and Live. Her entire philosophy is reduced to the words, act as though it were impossible to fail. She made her own test with sincerity and faith, and her entire life was changed to one of overwhelming success. Now, you make your test for 30 full days. Don't start your test until you've made up your mind to stick with it. You see, by being persistent, you're demonstrating faith. Persistence is simply another word for faith. If you didn't have faith, you'd never persist. If you should fail during your first 30 days, by that I mean suddenly find yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you've got to start over again from that point and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. And don't forget the card. It's vitally important as you begin this new way of living. On one side of the card, write your goal, whatever it may be. On the other side, write the words we've quoted from the Sermon on the Mount. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Nothing great was ever accomplished without inspiration. See that during these crucial first 30 days, your own inspiration is kept at a peak. And above all, don't worry. Worry brings fear, and fear is crippling. The only thing that can cause you to worry during your test is trying to do it all yourself. Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember also to keep calm and cheerful. Don't let petty things annoy you and get you off course. Now, since making